Hello dear students, welcome back. In this lesson, I will teach you some rules of using the definite article the. So rule 1 is something we discussed in our previous lesson. This rule is indeed a very important rule. Article the is used to talk about some person or thing known to your listener. Here we have an example. Ria has an 11 years old brother. The boy wants to be a pilot. Here I first say an 11 years old brother because you don't know him yet. Once I have mentioned him in the sentence, then I say the boy because you are known to him already. Here we have another example. Can you answer the question? When I say this to you, then you probably know the question. So I said the question. Here we have another example. Can you answer the phone? When I say this to you, then probably a phone ringing somewhere. So you are already known about the phone. So I said the phone. Rule number 2 is use the definite article the with unique things. That means there is only one of something. For example, the sky. We have only one sky. The sun, because we have only one sun. The moon, we have only one moon. Likewise, the sea, the earth, the universe, the world, and so on. Here we have a couple of examples. The sun rises in the east and sets in the west. Ria traveled all over the world. We also consider some things as unique, such as the government, the police, the internet, and so on. Here we have a couple of examples. The government is of the people, by the people, for the people. And the next is almost everybody uses the internet today. So dear boys, here you have a note, and this is important for you all. Sometimes the is replaced before a common noun to give it the meaning of an abstract noun. For example, at last the warrior in him was thoroughly aroused. So when we say the warrior is not more a common noun here. When we say warrior, it becomes an abstract noun. It indicates too the warlike spirit or the martial spirit here. After seeing the baby, the mother aroused in her. When we say the mother indicates here the motherly spirit. Here we have another example. Check the beast in you. When we say that check the beast in you, we indicates to the beastly spirit. So rule number 3. Use the with someone referring to nature or the environment generally. For example, here we have the countryside, the towns, the mountains, the seaside, the beach, the weather, and so on. Here the country indicates to some rural area or the village area. The towns indicates to some city area. The mountains indicates to some mountain area. Seaside indicates to sea area. So here we have some examples. He enjoys spending time in the sea beach. They are going to take a trip to the mountains. I love the weathers in Darjeeling. So dear boys, now come to the next rule. This is rule 4. When a singular noun is meant to represent a whole class. For example, the cow is useful animal. Here the cow indicates to the whole community of cow. When we say the horse is a noble animal, here the horse indicates to the whole class of the horse. When we say the banyan is a kind of fig tree, so don't say a kind of a fig tree. Say the banyan is a kind of fig tree. So the banyan here indicates the whole class. So dear boys, now come to rule number 5. Before some proper names, we use the, especially these kinds of place names. We use the before oceans and seas. For example, the Pacific or the Black Sea. We use the before the names of the rivers. For example, the Ganga, the Nile. We use the before the names of the canals. For example, the Suez Canal. We use the before the names of the deserts. For example, the Sahara. We use the before the names of the groups of islands. For example, the West Indies. We use the before the names of mountain ranges. For example, the Himalayas, the Alps, and so on. We use the before a very few names of countryside, which include words like republic and kingdom. For example, the Irish Republic, the United Kingdom, the Netherlands, the Ukraine, and so on. Rule number 6 is before the names of certain books. We use the before the names of certain books. For example, the Vedas, the Iliad, the Ramayana, and so on. When we say Homer's Iliad, Valmiki's Ramayana, we don't use the before it. For example, the Quran is a holy book. The Iliad is the masterpiece of Homer. Rule number 7. Before a proper noun, when it is qualified by an adjective or a defining adjectival clause. So we use the before a proper noun when it is qualified by an adjective or a defining adjectival clause. For example, the Mr. Roy whom you met last night is my uncle. Here, whom you met last night. This indicates to the adjectival clause. Here we have another example. The poor are not always happy. Now come to rule number 8. We use the with superlatives. For example, the darkest cloud has a silver lining. This is the best book of elementary chemistry. Ifa is the oldest woman in the village. It is the most useful thing in our modern life. So, we use the definite article the with superlatives here. Dear boys, now come to rule number 9. We use the with some ordinals. Ordinals indicates to order. That means first, second, third, fourth, and so on. For example, he was the first man to arrive. The 9th chapter of the book is very interesting. Rule number 10 is we use the before musical instruments. For example, he can play the flute. He is an expert of playing the piano. Rule number 11. Before an adjective when the noun is understood. We use the before an adjective when the noun is understood. For example, the poor are always with us. The rich are not always happy. The idle and the active can not be equal. So here, the poor is not more an adjective. This is a noun now. When we say the poor are always with us. When we say the rich, then rich is not more an adjective now, then it becomes a noun. We say the rich are not always happy. When we say the idle, so the idle is not more an adjective now. This becomes a noun now. We say the idle and the active cannot be equal. We should be kind to the helpless. So helpless is not an adjective now. When we use the article the here, it becomes a noun. Now come to rule number 12. We use the as an adverb with comparatives. For example, the sooner the better. Here the is used as adverb. The sooner the better. The more they get, the more they want. Here we used the here as an adverb. The more you read, the more you learn. Here also we use the as an adverb. Now come to rule number 13. We use the with some phrases like in the morning, in the evening, in the previous day, on the day after, in the afternoon, the next day, in the following day. So that's all for today, dear boys. Take care. Thanks to you all.